Hello, we are here with a cheap action camera to show you the fisheye effect, this distortion that occurs when you have a wide-angle lens, and there is no way, no setting on this particular cheap action camera to turn off the fisheye effect to not use such a wide view. So here's what happens. So you have something that is completely straight, like this set of stones right here, where you have the bleachers, which are of course a straight line when it's in the middle of kind of the view of the camera. But once you move it a little bit, now it starts to look like it's curved, even though of course it is not. The metal is just a straight line. So look here how now everything looks like it's slanted, like it's curved. Same with this set of stones. You kind of move the camera up there, and now suddenly there's kind of a curvature. Same thing here. It kind of curves upward now. Now it's downward, and now, of course, in the middle of the camera, it's a straight line. So just kind of showing you what it looks like. It's distortion, right? Because same here with the fence. Look, this fence is not curved, but now it is. So move the camera up. Same thing here. Now it's curving downward. So when you have a really wide-angle lens, this is really ideal for situations in which you're either keeping the camera still, then it's fine, you don't really notice the distortion, because really when you're moving it, you start to see a distortion. But when you're keeping it still, it's not so noticeable, or at least it doesn't really, it's not really something that is obvious because you're keeping the camera still, nothing's really changing. So keeping the camera still, or you simply just want to capture as much of the wide angle as you can, and that's fine. But on some cheap action cameras, unfortunately, there's no option to either correct the distortion. The setting on the CamPark series of action cameras is called distortion correction, and on some other cameras it could just say FOV, so you're just changing it from wide angle, super wide angle, to maybe medium or narrow. So there's different ways, different names for these settings, but sometimes you just simply will not see that setting to correct this. So it's really just a matter of personal preference. For me personally, I don't like the wide angle view unless there's a situation where I'm keeping the camera still, and then of course you're capturing really a lot of the scene because it's a wide angle. It's really fitting a lot here. That would be a situation, keeping the camera still, in which I would appreciate that because you can show as much of the scene as possible. But if I'm moving the camera around, it just, to me, it really stands out as something that's happening. The distortion here. So it's just a matter of preference, because it's a neat concept, and a lot of these cameras have this as default if there is an option to turn off the fisheye effect. And to me, if you're not really, I believe you're not really familiar with action camera settings, then it could be a little bit jarring, because it's simply not representative of reality. This is not representative of reality, neither is this. This is, but not this, and not this. So it's a little bit jarring for me, because I really just kind of grew up with the point-and-shoot cameras, the more expensive ones with the lens that kind of goes out when you zoom, not the cheap action cameras. And with those, you don't really have a wide-angle lens. It's not a fisheye. There's no fisheye effect there. So when I got these cameras, I was like, whoa, what is this? Why is this not representative of reality? But then I learned it's kind of standard practice on these cameras to at least have that option. And some of the cheap cameras don't even have that option to have a fisheye effect, which I like. Some of them have a slight distortion, very slight, and it doesn't bother me. But something like this, it would. And sometimes there's just no option to turn it off. So just letting you know this is what it looks like. It occurs because of the wide-angle lens, which is usually one of the marketing points of these cameras. But for me, I never really saw that as a benefit. Unless there's a situation where you're keeping the camera still, whether it's for a time lapse or you just want to show as much as you can, because of course now you can capture a whole lot more of the scene with the wide angle. But moving the camera around, it starts to become noticeable, like things are just twisting and turning, and it's just not representative of reality. So that's the fisheye effect on a cheap action camera. This one is the LiVo action camera, and I don't think it's for sale anymore on Amazon, but this is something I wish I could correct, because I do like the quality on this camera. It's very nice. But this would be more for like time lapses when I'm keeping the camera still, so I don't have to see these things constantly changing like that, which don't reflect reality. Looking at this fence is just really has a curvature to it, even though it does not in that example. So thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day. That is the fisheye effect with a cheap action camera. The quality looks great, but I just wish that they wouldn't focus so much sometimes on the wide angle lens, because this isn't really for everyone, and I have done researching how do I remove this, and sometimes it's simply not possible if you don't have that setting available on a cheap action camera.